Joshomadin, bienvenidos, welcome. I'll tell you about something that happened to me about a week ago. I went to Best Buy, and the whole time I was there, I heard this high pitched whining. My mother couldn't seem to hear it. Um, Apparently, only I could. Uh, Now, I've been told that when people get older, they have difficulty hearing certain high frequencies. I'm no spring chicken myself, but maybe I'm still young enough to hear this, and my mother wasn't. Although there was a guy, a staffer who helped me, who was a fair deal younger than I, and it didn't occur to me to ask him if he heard it. Probably should have. Now I know this doesn't sound all that interesting, but it reminded me of something back in my childhood. See, when I was young, I seemed to have a certain sensitivity to electronic appliances, computerized appliances, it seemed. If I was in a video arcade, all those arcade machines running, I could feel this sensation. Um, and if I was in a room full of computers, I felt it. I didn't seem to feel it when I was around washing machines or refrigerators, but maybe I just wasn't around enough of them at once. Like I didn't spend a lot of time in the laundromat, and I certainly don't recall being in a room full of refrigerators. Um, so maybe that was it. Maybe just simply the sheer number of electronic appliances operating all around me. I tell you, the most intense it ever felt for me was in computer class. I don't know how it is these days, but back in the early 90s, when I went to middle school, uh, computers were just beginning to become a common household item, as well as something common in business. So our school taught us how to use them. You know, they taught us the art of the double click and how to manipulate clip art. There was a lot of clip art. Now, really, I had a lot of fun, but being surrounded by all these computers in a single room gave me this feeling, and it was really, really intense when the computers turned on. Um, these days, we have our personal computers. We let them sleep. You know, they have a low power mode rather than constantly turning them off and on because the booting up process can be kind of involved. There's a lot going on with our modern computers, but computers back then, um, which I believe were Apple IIes in our classroom, uh, didn't have nearly as much stuff on them. So they could be booted up in seconds. And man, when that happened at the beginning of class, all those computers got turned on. It was like ice picks in my ears. It was really, really aggravating. But this feeling, this sensitivity, didn't last long. It seemed to last a few years and then go away. And I don't know why. Maybe I lost the capacity, maybe much like that ability to hear really high frequency sounds as I got older, even though I was by the time I was in like my early teens, um, my body lost its capacity to feel it, whatever it was. Um, or maybe I got used to it. Maybe I just spent so much time around computers and arcade machines and electronic appliances of all kinds that, I just stopped noticing it. It stopped becoming such a such a shock to the system. Or maybe the technology changed. And maybe there was something in computer technology in the early 90s that produced a lot of this stuff. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was an electromagnetic field or a particular sound. Sometimes it felt like a sound. I could feel it in my ears, but who knows? But perhaps as technology advanced, computers simply stopped producing so much of whatever it was. And perhaps, who knows, perhaps it was just the enormous amount of computer equipment in Best Buy that made me feel this thing that I normally desensitized to. But, maybe it's something else. Maybe it was just something happening on that day in Best Buy and not related to this phenomenon I felt in my youth. Because I've certainly been in Best Buy quite a few times in recent years, and I never felt this sensation, except that one day about a week ago. So it's probably completely unrelated. And this makes me wonder if anyone else has experienced this, because someone else has to have felt this, but I don't recall meeting anybody who ever did. My classmates, in fact, in middle school, seemed to think I was making it up. I seemed to be the only one I ever met personally who could feel the presence of all this computer equipment. So I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to know if you ever felt something like this. If you still feel something like this, was it something that only happened in your childhood at a particular age? Or was it something that happened in the early 90s? Was it the computer technology of the early 90s when the Apple IIe was the state-of-the-art personal computer to have that caused this sensation? Or is it still happening to some people somewhere out there? I'd really like to hear about it. It would be very interesting. Maybe we could pin down exactly what was going on. Were we feeling electromagnetic radiation, or was just there a sound being made that was too subtle for most of the people around us to pick up on? I don't know. Anyway, please let me know. Thank you for watching. Khudafez, adios, and goodbye.